It's like there's no really connection between it and the NBA except that you got retired NBA players in there or players who didn't have the longer NBA careers that they expected, or whatever the case may be, old and one players or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's just a professional pickup league, honestly. You know what I'm saying? What's no different than the Hoopers going to Rucker Park in the off season, or these pro am games that they go to, just because Big 3 is more televised or it's more easily accessible to watch. I don't see a problem with it, and it's during the off season, so it's not a conflict with any camps. It's not a conflict with any games, and I don't think there's any like contractual damage done by him. Now if he ends up hurting himself during the game, I mean, obviously that's going to be on him, and then they'll do whatever happened. Like when Chet Holmgren got hurt in that pro am before the season started, he was out for the whole year, his rookie year. That's different. But like I said, it's really no different than these players going to the pro ams or going to the Rucker Park or whatever the case may be. It's just something to do in the off season.
Um, yeah, but I think Adam Silver gonna have an issue with it, right? So and you're right. There's nothing in his contract to say he can't do that. I'm pretty sure the organization would not want him to because of what you mentioned. People like Chet Holmgren getting hurt. I think Clay got hurt playing some pickup in the summer a couple of years ago. But the thing with the Big 3 is Ice Cube just came out a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and publicly said the NBA and Adam Silver is trying to hold the Big 3 league back. And he said they're doing stuff behind their back, talking to sponsors, talking to networks, trying to encourage them not to support them, not to show their games and all that stuff. And the reason being is it's still a blind spot. We don't know exactly why the NBA is doing that, or if Ice Cube. I don't think Ice Cube is telling a lie, but I mean, the possibility is there that he could be mistaken or he's not being truthful, but I don't think he is. So why would the NBA not want to see the Big 3 succeed, or why wouldn't they try to help foster that that environment for them to succeed? And the only thing I can think of is they see it as a threat, and maybe they think if the Big 3 is very successful, then one day the Big 3 could be a full-blown league with owners and more than 10, 15, 20 teams and more than 10, 15, 20 different cities and states and stuff like that. And then that'll change so much. And I doubt that if Ice Cube was really at a position where he can compete with the NBA, I don't see a lot of NBA players not going to go support him. Especially the Jaylen Browns and the Kyrie Irvings and stuff like that. So that could be a threat. and if they see that as a threat, then that means Adam Silver probably will, put something in writing to discourage them going over there and doing it.
I disagree a little bit. I don't think that the threat factor is the biggest issue, more so than controlling the narrative. And one might say, Big Nash, what do you mean by that? And I would say, I think the NBA wants to control all avenues to the NBA. Imagine 18-year-old players say, you know what, I'm not going to the G League, or I'm not going to college for this time I have to wait. I'm going to hoop in the Big 3. It's a different game, but it's still basketball. You know what I'm saying? The rules are a little different, but it's still basketball. You'll play less games and stay fresher. But we've all seen somebody just warming up out on the court by themselves and say, "Oh yeah, he can hoop." You know what I'm saying? Right. The eye test would be there. So I think the NBA is like, hey, we don't want this to be an avenue until we can control it being an avenue that we'll make money off of too. So there was probably an opportunity for the NBA to buy Ice Cube out, or either buy in with Ice Cube, and Cube probably said, "Nah, that's not what I wanted to do. That's not why we created this." And I think that has a lot to do with it. But I think that Jaylen Brown showing up and hooping, it's big for the big three. It's much to do about nothing for the Celtics in the league, but it's big for players too, if that's something. You know what I mean? If you can understand where I'm coming from, where it's big for players, it gives the player. If I'm a GM or president of basketball or even owner, I don't want my guys playing in the Drew League. I don't want my guys at Rucker. I don't want my guys playing no basketball that I'm not getting paid out for.
Well,
you know
hey, but then they go use that Michael Jordan love of the game clause on it and say you can't stop me from going to go hoop. This is what I do. What I'm gonna do all summer if I'm trying to be the best player in the world.
Yeah,
I get like Luka.
Yeah, get juicy. Yeah,
I mean I get it, but it's listen. You giving away a product that's making me money for free. I can't make no money when you go hoop at Rucker. I can't make no money when you go hoop in the Drew League.
Yeah, that's different though, because now you talking about like I own, like that's like one of those deals that music artists get where once you sign it, once you sign that deal, everything you do.
I need a 360 deal. I need that 360 deal. Yeah, go hoop in the.
Based on what you said, but what y'all saying, I mean, I can see it. If this is the reason, I can see it being somewhere in their contract to where it says if you get hurt at such and such, and if it's not an NBA sanctioned event, or if this happens, then we are not liable. We don't have to pay you your full contract. We don't have to do this, because the Chet Holmgren thing did start that narrative. And as far as Jay said, the NBA is starting to see alternatives to what their farming system is, which is college or G League, then NBA. You see overtime elite. You see people going overseas. You see people who are already overseas still being drafted, like Wemby, number one. Like, they want to control as much here as they can. So I could see them definitely saying, okay, we're not going to give the big three no light, no shine. And to be completely honest, just like, it's not just old retired players there. There's dudes that could probably still play in today's league playing in the big three. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's the last man on the bench, he could be a veteran presence or something like that. And there's some young dudes. I think I was watching Club 520 podcast with Jeff Teague, and he was considering going over there. And I know that he could probably still play in the league. I mean, he was in the league for a long time. So for Adam Silver to be doing that, it shows non-inclusiveness when it comes to anything that's not going to benefit the big dog on the block. And we seen the same thing with Madden years ago, while we just now while we didn't get a NFL 2K game since 2005. Okay, wait a minute, we're going to monopolize this market. We're going to keep everything, the players' names and likenesses, only we can use it. So you might get a little knockoff game with some fake teams, but the real teams and the real names, no, only we can make that. And, the NBA, they can't do it to that extent, but I definitely think that they would like to if they could.
Yeah. But I think them players are a little bit too smart to allow it to happen. I mean, they let some BS happen in the CBA this summer. But I don't think they'll let anything close to that, man. I don't even know how. I don't understand how music artists even allow that junk, man. That junk is crazy, man.
It's not.
Music artists are getting smarter now too.
But think about it: when someone's offering you a large sum of money and you have no money, and they like, hey, the only drawback with this large sum of money is when you go over there to make some money, I'm the one that gave you this opportunity, so I need some of that too. You like, shoot, I might make $50 million this year versus $11 an hour. Yeah,
right.
Heck yeah, I can give you some money on a modeling deal. I can give you some money on ad deals. So it's the giving somebody something when they have nothing, then taking stuff that you ain't had nothing to do with it. I mean, it's treachery when you think about it. But if you're in that position, having something is better than having nothing.
So they do it. So they be with it.
I guess. Eric just called in. Eric, what's up, man?
What up, dog?
What's up? Can you hear me? Can y'all hear Eric?
Yeah.
What's up, A?
Hey, man, y'all tripping, bro. The NBA is paying them guys millions of dollars, man, to franchise off their brand. Franchise off your name, your likeness, all that.
Right.
So you have essentially sold your soul to the NBA. Whatever they want you to do, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, but if it ain't in the contract, then you know, I mean, they both are their own entity at that point. They agree. So NBA players are more like hired contractors. You know, I don't work. You know, I don't work for your company. You know, we came into an agreement together and we have a contract. Because I mean, at the end of the day, those players can walk away whenever they want to. They won't get paid no more. So it's a hired contract job. You own a company, you own a franchise, and I signed to play for your franchise. That's it. Everything that's in my contract is what I will do and fulfill. And then if it doesn't say I can't go play basketball in the summer, or I can't go play basketball in another league like the Drew League or Rucker Park or any of the things like that, then it's not in my contract. Now, the thing with Jaylen Brown is it's probably not in his contract that he can't go play for that. But like I said, I think Adam Silver and the NBA and the owners have somewhat of a fear of the Big Three because the Rucker Park is not challenging them. And the Big Three isn't yet, but I think they think the potential for them to challenge them later on down the line is there, and they don't want to help them. So it's not
right.
they can't legally do anything to Jaylen Brown. Huh?
They should partner with the Big Three. I agree with that. But the NBA takes a risk every time you go out and play in the Rucker Park, the Big Three, all that you could possibly get hurt, and that damages their franchise. That damages the team. So I get it why they would have a problem with it.
Sure, but they got to put it in the contract though.
But there's also a risk reward factor in there too. Let's say you have a guy that watches the Big Three that doesn't watch the NBA, and Jaylen Brown comes in to play yesterday at the All-Star Game and everything, and everybody's like, and everybody's hyping him up or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, this guy can really play." You may have potentially earned a new Celtic fan or a new NBA fan. You know what I'm saying? Things like that happen. So when you do something at a high level and you make money off of it, and someone else can make money off of it too, they'll exploit you. It comes to mind. John Cena comes to mind. Every movie that he makes, Vince McMahon gets a cut. Vince McMahon gets a cut off of every movie that John Cena makes, and John Cena is like, "Hey, I'm okay with it because the world wouldn't know who John Cena was had I not ever started working for Vince McMahon."
Right, and that's what you're supposed to say when you have very little talent, and I can find anybody to do what you do. Anybody that's John Cena size with his body structure can go and wrestle and read off a script. You know, I ain't gonna say anybody, but more people can do what.
Not everybody.
You're right. Not everybody. More people can do what John Cena does than can do what Jaylen Brown does.
No, and that's a fact. However, he's like everywhere now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like
he's the new age Rock.
To some degree.
You got to pay homage to the people that gave you your start, though.
Yeah, I agree.
But at what point have I paid my dues? You know what I'm saying? At what point do you say
where's the stopping point?
Yeah.
You can't sign me forever. And that's the issue, man. That's the issue. Everybody that got a son, done had that situation when y'all walking down the hallway and he don't want to move his shoulders out the way no more. You know what I mean? So, and he go ahead and get you a little shoulder check. And sometimes you gotta let him know. So either the NBA go give him a shoulder check and let him know, or Jaylen Brown is going to be telling his daddy, the NBA, to take the trash out tomorrow.
Difference is the big three ain't paying Jaylen Brown no millions of dollars like the NBA.
That's true, but Jaylen Brown still play for the Celtics, and they got to pay him. So, you know, I think the only backlash is going to come from this is Jaylen Brown. If he keep doing this this pro black stuff in the NBA's face, he's gonna lose favor with the league, and losing favor with the league is a tough hill to climb.
That's only half of the backlash. The other half is how contracts will be written in the future.
Correct.
So
correct.
You know,
yeah.
The next guy.
That's a slippery slope though, because your verbiage and how you word these contracts would essentially eliminate these camps that these players do in the offseason too. Which is
I don't think the contracts would read that way. It'll read almost in a way where you can't go and do business with our competitors. And then they're going to have to admit that they see the big three as a competitor. Right. Because right now they're not ready to admit that. Right. You know, they're trying to act like they're not doing anything behind the scenes, but Ice Cube called them out. So it won't say if the Rucker Park won't be a competitor.
The only way I can see the big three being a competitor is if the big three in the NBA was on at the same time.
No, not just on at the same time.
They're still a competitor because they have different ownership, but they're competing for advertising dollars. They're competing for network contracts. They're competing for the same thing, and the target demographic is the same exact people.
Exactly, you know, and potentially players too. Potentially players. Because right now he's getting old retired players and people that didn't make it to the NBA on the squads. But this thing got so much more potential, and I think they see it. And at some point they probably I don't know if it was Eric that said that. At some point they probably had a conversation with Cube and was like, "Hey, I like what you're doing, and let us get in on that." And Cube probably told them, "Nah, I'm doing my own thing." And that's when it was like, "Oh, okay, you want you want to
get in with him." Cube said he want to get in with the NBA, but he said the NBA is not messing with him.
Interesting. How would it work? I
just watched the interview.
Okay.
You could probably treat the big three as another farm system.
Exactly. So Zoe, remember when LeVar Ball first started talking about creating his own league and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the NBA came out of nowhere with the G League, or not the G. Well, what they came out of nowhere and said the G League will take people out of high school, and you can, instead of going to college, you can come to the G League, and then you can use that as a gateway to get to the pros. That was the exact business model of LeVar Ball. Yeah, that was LeVar Ball's business model, right? But ESPN and all their panelists and analysts was on there saying how horrible of an idea it was, but the whole time the NBA was scheming like, that's a great idea. We should do that before he does it.
Well, the best way to kill your competition is you discredit them and then you steal their idea.
Correct.
Like
also, LeVar Ball was very outspoken against the NBA anyway. So you couple that with a better idea, and that's just a recipe for you to come up missing. but if Cube hasn't said anything degrading about the NBA, and it probably like the conversation between the NBA and Cube just probably wasn't enough money. Cube knows the kind of brand that he's built now. They've been doing this for what? It's a good amount of years now, huh? About 6, 7, 8.
Year 5, 6, something like that.
Something like that. So it's sustaining momentum. You know what I'm saying? Just pay the man. Pay him what he deserves, and keep him included. Don't just pay him and then kick him to the curb, like, because it's his child. You know what I'm saying? It's his baby. So still leave him as like the.
The problem might be they're trying to pay him for where it's at now instead of where it's trying to go.
What it could be.
Oh, that's interesting, man.
They should pay him. I agree with y'all. I agree that they should pay him.
And it is year 6. Year 6 of
what that mean? What that mean?
What's NBA certified?
Yeah, what that mean?
We got Google. I'm about to go look that up right now.
They let them do it. It's part of what they because anytime you see a player interacting with regular people and especially playing with them or whatever, it kind of makes that player more human, and you get more fans off of that. So the NBA ain't tripping too bad, but I'm not even talking about at the NBA level, just ownership level. If I own a team and my player blows his knee out at a summer league, that I'm upset.
Absolutely.